In today's lesson, I will show you how to convert angles from degrees to radians and from radians to degrees. So when we rotate a ray across its endpoint, we form angles. So consider this ray with the endpoint at 0. When I rotate this ray across that endpoint, I'm going to form a shape called circle. So there are two ways to represent angles. We can represent angles in radians and we can represent angles in degrees. So how do you know the one that are written in radians and degrees depend on the units? So for degrees, there will always be that little 0 at the end of the number. So if I say 90 degrees, so that this little 0 shows you that this angle is in degrees. Or if I say 270 degrees, so that tells you that all these angles, 90 and 270, they are measured in degrees. But what if I just say 2 pi? If I just say 2 pi, that means the angles is measured in radians. Or if I just say 2 without putting degrees, then that means that this angle 2 is also measured in radians. So normally for radians, we write 2 rad, R-A-D. So rad means radians, or they can just say 2. So now, when I move my ray or rotate my ray and complete one revolution, okay? If I complete one revolution, from geometry, we already know that the angle, okay, of a full circle will be 360 degrees. So 360 degrees is one full revolution, okay? So that's 360 degrees is the same as 2 pi radians. So if I divide this by 2, I will get 180 degrees on the left. So 180 degrees will be pi radians. So this is very important to note. So you need to write this down in your journal because 180 degrees equals to pi radians. And that is what we are going to use to convert our measure of angles from either degrees to radians or radians to degree. So we want to convert the following from degrees to radians. So the first example says we should convert 120 degrees to radians. So we already know that 180 degrees equals to pi. That means 1 degree is equals to pi over 180 degrees. So whenever you are asked to convert from degrees to radians, you have to multiply the angles in degree that you are given with pi over 180. So let's do it, the first one. So 120 degrees will be 120 degrees multiplied by pi over 180 degrees. So you can see that 10 goes in 10, 6 goes in 12, that will be 2. 6 goes in 18, that will be 3. So we can see that this equals to 2 pi over 3. Yes. So for question number 2 is the same. So we just have to multiply the degrees with pi over 180. So negative 240 degrees will be negative 240 degrees multiplied by pi over 180 degrees, okay? So that will, again, if you divide, okay? So we know that 10 will go in 10, 6 goes in 18, that will be 3, 6 goes in 24, that will be 4. So this gives us negative 4 pi over 3. So negative 4 pi over 3 radians is the same thing as saying negative 240 degrees. So for 540 degrees multiplied by pi over 180 degrees. So again, you can see that 10 cancels 10, 18 1, 18 goes in 54. That will be 3. So 540 will be 3 pi. And for negative 46.52 degrees, you still have to multiply just with pi divided by 180 degrees. So we are just going to multiply negative 46.52 degrees multiplied by pi over 180 degrees. Okay, so this one you should use your calculator. Definitely you are going to get negative 0.812. Okay, right. Okay, so now we are now asked to convert from all these angles from radians to degree. So when you convert from radian to degree, now we know that pi radian will be 180 degrees. So 1 radian, so just 1 radian will be 180 degrees divided by pi. So we have to multiply all of this with 180 degrees divided by pi to be able to convert all these angles in radians to degrees. Okay, so let's do it. So 3 pi over 2, we are going to multiply it again with 180 degrees divided by pi. Okay, so this will be pi goes in pi, 2 goes in 180, that will be 90. Okay, so 90, so this comes down to 3 multiplied by 90, and that will give us 270 degrees. Okay, so 3 pi divided by 2 radians equals to 270 degrees. So what about number 6? Number 6, we have negative 13 pi divided by 60. So again, just multiply it with 180 multiplied by pi. Okay, so 60 goes in 180, that will be 3, I believe. Pi will go in pi, so this will be negative 39 degrees. Answer. Okay. So for number 7, you are given just 0.57. I have told you whenever your angles doesn't have any degrees on top of it, that means it's in radians. So to convert this to radians, what do? You multiply it by 180 degrees divided by pi. So it's the same for everything. So and this one, use your calculator. If you use your calculator, you see that it leads to 32.7 degrees. Sometimes they want you to write the answer in 2 decimal places. So I mean, you can just punch it into your calculator and just to do 2 decimal places. I'm doing 1 decimal places in this for this particular question. Okay, so number 8 is negative 4.2 pi. So again, to convert this radians into degrees, just multiply it with 180 degrees divided by pi. Okay, so this one too, you might want to use your calculator. If you do, you are going to get negative 756 degrees. And that is how to convert from either degrees to radians or radians to degree. Thank you. Please remember to subscribe.